You could still go home.
What have we found?
I ain't got time want to go home. I don't know the way no more.
Same old fears.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Task, HBO's latest limited series starring Mark Ruffalo. Now, I'm calling this the season 1 review because the creator and showrunner, who also did Mare of Easttown, has kind of openly stated the last few days that he's interested in doing a season 2. Whether that means continuing the story or doing an anthology style format like True Detective, we don't really know yet, or even if there is going to be something else. But as of right now, Task is officially a one and done miniseries. So if you are watching this review and you haven't seen the show yet, know this is a complete story. There's no cliffhangers, there's no filler. It's just 7 tightly written episodes to deliver a very memorable story. So the show follows FBI agent Tom Brandis, played by Mark Ruffalo, who leads a small task force to stop a string of violent robberies led by Robbie Pendergrass. And on paper, that sounds pretty standard. You get the feds versus the criminals, but the execution and depth here are what make Task so special. Robbie isn't your typical criminal. He's a garbage man who, along with his buddies, use these routes to scout houses connected to local drug operations. And every time they collect trash, they're also collecting intel, like when they finally make their move on one of the houses. For example, in episode 1, everything goes very, very wrong. People die, and one of their crew members actually gets killed, and they end up kidnapping a kid who witnessed the whole thing. And the twist is that the bag that they think was full of cash actually contains the drugs themselves, because they didn't get to sell them before. And Robbie has a biker gang now after him after the stash, and the FBI is now after him for the kidnapping. And a family he's trying to desperately protect is now involved in this chaos, and it's a really, really great play on everything. So on the flip side, you have Mark Ruffalo, like I said, playing Tom Brandis, who is a seasoned FBI agent who's been kind of benched for years. He's basically doing recruiting gigs at colleges. He's jaded, going through the motions, and the task case feels like a throwaway assignment when it first lands on his desk. But underneath that calm exterior, Tom's personal life is in shambles. He and his late wife had adopted 2 kids in addition to having one of their own. And during the pandemic, his adopted son, who struggled with schizophrenia and some other issues, stopped taking his medications due to that shortage of medications during COVID. And that led to a tragic incident where he pushes the mother down the stairs, killing her. And now Tom is grieving. He's angry and estranged from his daughter, who still visits the brother in prison. And so you've got this man trying to find redemption and purpose again, all while leading a chaotic task force full of mismatched cops and local agents who barely even know what they're doing. And it's a pressure cooker from episode 1. Now, the show does a really phenomenal job at balancing the professionalism of the FBI with the small town flaws of local law enforcement. Like I said, for example, one of the women on there, I believe she's a state trooper, and so she's barely trained, like as far as like doing FBI stuff. You know, she just kind of like writes tickets and stops people. And there's one particular issue like where she hasn't even pulled a gun before or even shot anybody. So whenever that comes up, she hesitates. And so what separates Task from your average cop show is that it feels more grounded. It's very HBO's. It's got that budget. Nobody here is invincible. It's really real. The tension doesn't come from big explosions or shootouts. It comes from the decisions and mistakes and people under pressure. Now, I do want to talk about the acting because I feel like that's what 100% carries the show, because the story is great, but the performances elevate that great story. So Mark Ruffalo, like I said, is phenomenal. This might be one of his best roles, I feel like, in years. He brings this quiet pain and weariness that makes him, you know, every single line that he says like will hit a little bit harder. Amelia Jones is also stand out for me. She plays Robbie's niece, and she's not just some side character. She carries a lot of emotional weight and brings heart to every scene she's in, especially with everything that's going on and how she gets involved. And I feel like that fleshes out this world and these characters, make them feel real as well. And I feel like that's where the writing really shines, because the show doesn't hold your hand. You're not going to get a long flashback or big exposition dumps. You learn about people through their dialogue and their choices and even their silences. And it's a story or storytelling through subtlety, which is exactly what HBO does best. Now, visually, I feel like Task is very stunning. You can tell, like I said earlier, this is an HBO production. You have that cinematic lighting, moody framing, and that cold, gritty tone that reminds you kind of Mare of Easttown. But this feels even more refined. The pacing is deliberate, but never boring. And every episode builds tension on like the finale that hits like a freight train. And I feel like there's a lot of strong emotional storytelling here that's baked into the visuals as well. You have those muted color palette mirrors the emotional decay of the characters, and the camera often lingers on those small moments like Tom, you know, thinking about his wife, or Robbie quietly panicking over his next move. And I feel like it's those little touches that make this show feel more lived in. Now, without spoiling anything, I will say the finale does stick the landing. I know look at Peacemaker, a lot of people didn't like that finale, but I feel like you will enjoy this for what it is. It ties everything up in a way that feels earned and satisfying. And there are no cheap cliffhangers, no forced setups for a sequel, just a complete self-contained story about guilt, redemption, and even survival. Now, thematically, Task is about the weight of consequences. Every decision, big or small, ripples outwards and affects everybody around you. Whether it's Robbie stealing that bag or Tom, you know, being on this case, both men are trapped by their choices. And by the end, you realize that neither of them is truly innocent, but both are undeniably human. Now, Task is one of the best miniseries I feel like HBO has put out in years. It's gripping, emotional, mature. The storytelling is great from start to finish, and it doesn't rely on cheap twists or over-explaining. It just trusts the audience to keep up. And I feel like if this ends up being the only season, it's definitely a masterpiece in its own right. But if we do get a season 2, like I said, anthology style or a continuation with some of these characters, I'm going to be 100% on board. Now, with that, I think that Task is also my favorite show of the year so far. There's a few more that I'm going to be finishing as the year wraps up. But yeah, with that, I think that the direction, acting, everything's top tier. So I'm going to give Task a 10 out of 10 for season 1, I guess you would call it. I feel like this is pristine television at its finest. And so with that, thank you guys for watching. If you've seen Task, drop your thoughts down below. Did you love it as much as I did? Do you want a second season, anthology style, or even continuing with these characters? And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more reviews every single week. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Because you ruined yours.
You ever done something you can't be forgiven for?